Open meeting law, any person may make an audio or video recording of this public meeting or may transmit the meeting through any medium. Attendees are therefore advised that such recordings or transmissions are being made that perceived or unperceived by those present and are deemed acknowledged and permissible. This is the Community Preservation Committee meeting in the One Government Center Atrium, Thursday, January 10th, 6 p.m. Could I get a roll call of the committee members? Jim Soul,
Mr. Quintero Rivera.
Jim Souza,
Tony Dias.
Victor Farias.
John Frank Kerr. So we're missing Charlie Monis. And we're still missing an appointee from the Housing Authority. And John Brandt, welcome. Item number 4, accepting of the meeting minutes of November 20th. Oh, I'm sorry. Citizen input. Sandy was just saying there was no one signed up for citizen input. Item number 3, thank you. Item number 4, accepting of meeting minutes of November 26th, 2018.
Yes.
Could I get a motion?
I'll make a motion.
Second.
Any questions on the minutes or comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Item number 5 is the emergency funding for the Fall River Public Library to discuss. Chris Gallagher is here. He had submitted a application in September regarding this. I also asked Kathy Ann Viveris, our city administrator, to come forward with any questions financially. So I'll let Chris speak, and Kathy's here, and then we can open up the discussion. So basically, we can explain what, the reason why obviously it was submitted in September, and then why we're going in front now for an emergency to that same exact project.
Okay, we submitted in September. We were going for because we felt that we needed to go and get the roof completed. We had put it in a community compact piece that we had. I think it's scheduled for, and don't quote me, for 2021, but I think it was supposed to be for 20, which was next year. We felt that the roof at the time of the community compact in that we could repair the roof to get it to that point to do that work. We've tried several times, if not more than that, with different companies, our own crews, other people that are in the industry, to stop. There are 4 active leaks in the building that are doing some damage now. They weren't as bad as what they look as today. They're actually, probably by the end of next week or the week after, won't look as bad as they do when we walked in there yesterday. But going forward, that we feel that because of the damage that it's creating, that it needs to be an emergency. We can't wait until 2020 or 2021 and wait for that. We want to get it now. We want to get going. If we wait for the funding that we put in for September and wait for the general, it doesn't come till July when the approval happens through City Council. And then by the time we go through our bidding process and all that, it's towards the end of the year of 19. We'd like to start this process right away, start it now, and that hopefully get it done by May of 19 instead of August, September, October of 19.
So I'll open up the discussion to the board. If anybody wants to start a conversation or questions.
Yeah. And then we just couldn't stop it anymore. We just said, let's go for emergency, let's get it. Because we wouldn't get it till the end
So,
of 19.
I have a few questions. I mean, it's definitely a phenomenal building. It's a project I'm very supportive of to start with, even when it came through as the eligibility project. But being that the cost estimate for it would be $345,000.
That is correct.
I don't know if Kathy Ann could explain a little bit about the finances as far as citywide and why the city is not able to fund any of it. So that'd be my curiosity.
Sure. Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and I do appreciate the opportunity to address the committee this evening and appreciate taking us promptly. So the question about the financing, I think it has to be looked at in a larger context. So I'll give you just a quick overview of capital improvement strategy, and then certainly we can get a little more specific regarding the roof. So the City Council is required to approve all loan orders or any capital expenditures of any borrowing that's done on behalf of the city of Fall River. Starting back in, I think it was even as early as 2016, we undertook a process of working with the UMass Boston to actually do a community compact for capital plan. And this was an initiative of the Baker-Polito administration. They provided funding for us to do a comprehensive capital plan for our buildings. And the reason that we undertook that study is because for a number of years, our municipal buildings had not been getting the appropriate attention that they deserve. As you're probably aware, I mean, we had fire stations, we had, the library, the government center has been a significant problem. We have many schools that needed repairs. So we undertook a comprehensive effort to develop a 5-year plan for capital improvements. Now, admittedly, had the city been addressing its buildings' capital needs over time, then the magnitude of that project and that capital plan would not have been nearly as significant as it was, but it was extremely expensive, and it was clearly something that the city could not undertake all at one time, and I'll get back to that point in a moment. So what we did was we established a multiple-year plan, and it was done based on a number of factors. Number one was the severity of the damage or the problem that the building had. We were also, as Mr. Gallagher mentioned, in the case of the library roof, we felt we were going to be able to do repairs that were going to allow us to delay the actual construction until further out in the plan, which originally was, we think it was 2020 was when it was originally anticipated and scheduled. But because of the nature of the repairs and the fact that the repairs weren't working, we expected that we were going to be able to accomplish it. And I know that Mr. Gallagher has had opportunity, and maybe could even extend it to some of your members, to actually go up and take a look at it. Visually, you don't see the magnitude of the problem, but the reality is, and anybody that's familiar with roofs, the smallest breach in the membrane can cause serious, water damage problems and
other parts, right?
Absolutely. So, hence the repair problem. But to get back to the multi-year plan, what the city has attempted to do and the financial team has attempted to do was to try to develop a fiscal strategy, and this began back in 2015 as well, that we felt was sustainable over the long term for the community. It was back in 2015 that in our stabilization or our reserve account or our rainy day fund, however you want to refer to it, we had approximately $500,000. And we recognized, based on our conversations with the rating services, and clearly if we bond, and we're currently bonding several projects for CPC, that we need a certain credit rating, and we need to be able to bond and do so in a cost-effective manner. So one of the recommendations that came out of that was that the city had to increase its stabilization in its reserve accounts. $500,000 was, for all practical purposes, no reserve, given the magnitude of the municipal budget. And I did bring for you the calculation that's kind of driving our initiative. I know there was some conversation about perhaps using the stabilization fund to be able to finance this type of improvement. So as of December 31st of 2018, so fast forward, we're like 3 years ahead, the current amount of the reserves is $7,873,348, so just slightly under $8 million. So clearly we have made dramatic gains in terms of building up those necessary reserves to establish the fiscal stability that's required, not just for our credit rating, but even just for good government. It's important. But I will tell you that along those same lines, and we just yesterday had a conference call with Moody's Investment, because every year we have to get the city's bond rating reestablished. And while they were impressed that we came from $500,000 to almost $8 million, they reminded us that we were still significantly below what they consider to be best practice and fiscally responsible. So we did some numbers for you. Based on the Government Finance Office recommendations, and these are what the rating agencies look to, the recommended reserve balance for the city of Fall River with a general fund appropriation budget. So the reserves are a function of your budget. And the assumption being at the larger the budget, the larger the municipality, and the larger amount of the reserves that you should have on hand. So clearly a smaller town would have a smaller number, but the city of Fall River, based on that $255 million operating budget, they determined that we should have in reserve $25,581,000. And here we are at $8 million, and we thought we were doing really well, but we're only at 3% of our total budget, and we're supposed to be at 10% of the total budget. So we have been extremely disciplined, and I will say that the city council has supported us, the administration, in this goal to really try to get to a respectable reserve amount. Now, clearly, $25 million, I don't know that we'll get there anytime too soon, but we're thinking we have to at least get to 12 to 13 million, approximately half of that number, to be, as I said, acknowledged by the credit rating agencies and to consider as responsible. So the idea that we would go to stabilization for this project, or really any major project, is just not viable given the city's fiscal condition. Dramatically improved and improving. We've made decisions that moving forward, that our free cash at the end of each year, again, the plan is not to use.
What exactly is free cash?
Okay,
What is
so
that?
free
I actually
cash,
don't know.
yeah, it comes about from a couple of different
I know it's not
reasons.
free.
And our Director of Financial Services, Mrs. Sahadi, converted the city to zero-based budgeting several years ago. So, and what that does is, on the one hand, it gives the departments only what they can absolutely justify in terms of their budgetary allowances. But, and consequently, it doesn't have the taxpayer paying any additional amount of funds that are absolutely necessary to operate the government. But the reality is if you budget pretty closely to your actuals at the end of the year, free cash is a function of any funds remaining at the end of the fiscal year. So if we give the police department $20 million and they, at the end of the year, they only spend $19,500,000, that additional $500,000 becomes free cash. So with the zero-based budgeting, those reserves, those excess funds, clearly do not come in large quantity, but that's one source. That's a primary source of free cash. The second one is tax title. So any funds that we collect as a function of tax title, tax possession, funding, those are not things that we budget for. That is available for free cash as well. So it's a combination of tax title receipts and any excess revenues remaining at the end of the fiscal year that have not been
What
utilized.
are the funds in the free cash account?
Pardon me?
What are the funds in the free cash account?
Well, again, this $8 million, just under $8 million is a combination. So what happens is, in fact, we have the free cash that we have yet to transfer over to stabilization right now, $341,725. So what happens is every year, you, as your free cash is certified in the fall of the year, and I would say Department of Revenue keeps a pretty close eye on these transactions and these fundings, as well as our municipal budget. Once they certify the free cash, then we are able to transfer from free cash to the stabilization account, which then, can be accessed if we need it. Again, more for emergencies. And some would argue this is an emergency, but again, we're trying to build it up. We need to build it up. So again, that remains certified and transferred by the City Council to the stabilization account. So we have a very, again, zero-based budgeting. Now, I want to go back to something I touched on earlier in terms of the borrowing. So we recognized, I think at the time, we pared down the total amount of improvements, and we've kind of limited our capital improvement plan now to boilers, windows, the envelope of the building, the roofs, boilers, windows. We're not even talking about painting and carpeting. I mean, it's all heavy duty. Exactly. And I would say, I think after we finished paring it down, I think the total came to around 23 million.
Yeah.
Do you remember?
Yep,
We were in
23,
that
yep.
range. So we had to do it over several years. And the reason for that is the amount of money that we spend annually on our debt service, to pay our loans, if you will, we have set an internal cap, if you will, that, by the by, other communities far exceed and have the ability to exceed. But we have set an internal cap of no more than $10 million, approximately $10 million each year, to come out of the general fund to pay for our debt service, for any loans that we have outstanding. And so in light of that, we took the 23 million and we ended up having to apportion it out over the 5-year term of the plan. And so consequently, as much as we would have liked to address all the projects in year one, and many of them were needed, because of that internal cap on how much we spend on our debt service, we had to portion it out over multiple years. Now, just one last point on that debt service. Any money we spend on debt service on a given in an annual budget is not available for police, for fire, for schools, for general operational government. So it's a balancing act. Yes, we could increase our debt. We are certainly well below our maximum debt capacity. But to do that, we would be taking revenues away from other operating budgets that we believe are providing critical services to the community. So hence the $10 million
Now,
cap.
is the community compact a document that, obviously it has a list of all the municipal properties, is that correct?
Yes,
Yeah.
it's specifically buildings.
Building, yeah, it's school and city buildings.
Is it in a list where there's like a triage of buildings, or not, or is it just?
Oh, no, it's all
general?
itemized.
But is it like, well, this building's worse, this building's the second worst?
Yeah, we
Is it
try
that
to,
way,
we
or
try
is
to
it just
organize it.
like-
Well, it is like that in the compact, but then we've kind of put them into these books. But we do have somewhat of a list of what we want to see. Again, building envelopes is kind of your priority, and then going to like interior stuff or brickwork or masonry, windows. You're trying to do your building envelopes first, and then everything else would be your insides, stuff like that,
You were
plaster,
saying
ceilings.
that the library is kind of in the book as far as being
Oh, it's
addressed in
in.
2020?
Yes. But we got moved.
Yeah, it might have
back a
got
year.
moved to 21, because what happened was the first year the plan was ready, we weren't able to get any of the projects approved for loan order. So the whole plan ended up getting bumped out a year.
And then we
so-
were asked to have it professionally estimated
Right.
by a professional estimating company. So they came in and estimated all of these projects to what, not only these are the city side, we had the school side as well. And it had them all estimated so that we would know what these costs were, pretty much like exactly. But again, it's still an estimate. This is a roundabout what they feel that these prices are. With a 4% escalation cost every year, for every year that you don't do it from, if you're gonna do them all now, here, if you're gonna do it next year, it's 4% more, 4%, you know,
Inflation.
so.
So I think, again, as far as the library is concerned, when we were doing the analysis, we had every expectation that we were going to be able to do repairs and be able to get to it on a further year. Mr. Gallagher did try. I mean, again, he mentioned private vendors, internal roof people that got recommended. I mean, it's a challenging roof, as you can appreciate anyway, even just due to its fabrication. So what happened was we were going to try to accelerate it to some degree through CPC, and then when the leaks just kept getting worse and worse, we said, you know, let's at least try to do an emergency funding. So.
Thank you for that explanation of the finances.
Yeah, thank you. And unlike the government center roof, which is exceeding $1 million, again, at least this one is a little bit more affordable, and we hope that CPC would be willing to assist us in addressing those. Now, I will add one other point, too, in terms of just the general strategy, because I know there's always been a concern about, you know, the municipality not relying on CPC to do all of its capital improvements. That's not your function. You're not here to
We've done a
take
fair
care of,
amount.
and you've done quite a few, and we
Quite a few
appreciate
years.
that. I will tell you that, and Mr. Gallagher's already made some adjustments, and he can get into some of that at either, if not this meeting, the next meeting. But what we are doing at the same time is we're building up our facilities department. So for the first time, we have electricians on staff, we have plumbers, we have HVAC, or at least carpenters. We're trying to do more of that maintenance, especially preventive maintenance work in-house, because it's less expensive for us to be able to do it with our staff than to hire a vendor to go out and do the work. So again, the strategy is in place to try to get more proactive with these repairs, to be able to do more of the work in-house. We did try to address the roofing on the library building, but we are making an effort to try to help ourselves, if you will, regarding a lot of these building maintenances.
And as well as when it is replaced and stuff for preventative maintenance.
Right.
We're putting in a system in place, it's called a facilities dude. It's something that automatically does everything kind of like for you. Put all the information in, they come down, we work with them, your boilers and your roofs, your windows, all of that stuff, and it has your preventative maintenance. Pumps out the work order for you, okay, send the guy. So you're gonna have more of the preventative maintenance go up. It's the fall, clean the roof gutters or clean the roof drains and things like that, overall inspections, things that haven't been done in 40 years that we're going to start being able to document and be able to have these systems in place so these sort of things don't happen in the future. And that's what we're trying to accomplish in trying to get this overall.
And they will extend the useful life, so, I mean, it's important to know that it's one thing to repair it or replace it, but then to maintain it, so then you're not coming back, prematurely because of lack of maintenance. So we are taking steps on a more comprehensive basis to try to address our capital needs. We did succeed this year in getting a number of projects funded through loan order, so those projects are moving ahead, but this was just one that, as I said, because of the nature of the damage that was being created inside, we were concerned. I can tell you, if you were to walk through the 6th floor of Government Center, you would see a lot of water damage. You would see, during a rainstorm, multiple buckets. And yet, we made it wait. We finally got it approved. But in the case of the library, the water is creating damage to the historic structure, the historic internal elements. So it's not for a lack of tolerating the problems with some of these projects, but in the library's case, given the historic nature, we just felt that it was.
The school administration building was that way too, because I toured that before we funded that one.
Yeah.
I mean, they had I don't have to explain it, but it's.
Sure.
I mean,
And that's just the nature of how it's been working. But we have been putting packages together like this community compact and proactively going after this stuff. We need your help. There's no question of a doubt that we need CPC's help and stuff. But we are being very proactive in our buildings to bring them back to life, bring them where they are, and then being able to maintain them. That's the biggest thing. We can do all of this work, and if you don't maintain them, we're going to be back in the same spot. We're trying not to do that. We're trying to do a full comprehensive package that once this is done, that we're also going to maintain it and have a useful life and not have this again. That's the sort of thing. Where 20 years, we're starting to come up on the 20 years, this has to go either in the community compact, has to go in your general budget. It's due for a roof on this year. It's due for a roof on this one. It's due for, so these are all things that have to happen, but they'll all be generated in our system now, that it will automatically put these things out for you to let you know, okay, it's time to have this in this year's budget because this needs to be replaced. It's at its useful life. If you've maintained it, then you can say, okay, I can put this off for another year, but you have to be looking at it and inspecting and make sure you're maintaining. Once you do that, then you should be ahead of the game and not be where we need to be under emergency and be under a gun to get something like this.
I'd like to open up I appreciate your comments, I
Yeah,
appreciate your
thank you.
explanation too, and yours too, but I'd like to open up to the board for questions. I know I asked Kathy Ann to come
Right, I have
in. She has
another,
a meeting, so you have to go.
yeah, so-
Well, she
but if
had-
anybody
she
has
did-
a quick
she
question
did
for me
say
before I-
Yesterday, she had to leave at 6:30, so I just want to quickly.
Anybody?
Is there any quick
Okay,
questions
good.
for Kathy Ann?
Great.
Can you finish the roof this time of year?
Yeah, actually, the
Thank you.
architect does the design.
Thanks, Kathy.
Yeah, they're gonna have, we would start the design right away, being able to design the roof and stuff like that, then we would put it out to bid. We're looking at a 2-month window, by the time you get the design, put it out on the street and stuff, start it at March, maybe May, and have it done by the end of May, April, as kind of our goal. Again, depending on the funding, when the funding comes, it gets the approval, then you start, there's all of those factors. So, but yeah, we're looking to be April, May to try to be completed with this. I know if we go the other route, then we're not till September, October, we're the end of the year. I want to try to get past that. I want to get to this now, and that's our whole goal to do.
So this will come out of our reserve fund, right?
Yes.
Put us down to 113.
There are some things that I have done that we're going to, where we've talked about the CPC taking and doing a lot of stuff for the city. There are a lot of things that we're going to take, and I can discuss them more in depth on the 15th or the 28th when they come, that I'm withdrawing, that we're going to do ourselves on the projects, just so that we can allow and not go after that. We're going to do it ourselves on some of those other projects, allowing those funds to be opened up. So whatever you have to put towards this will allow us to.
Mr. Chairman, so I don't have a question really. I just want to make a couple of statements that I support this. Actually was, back in September, I was a little bit surprised it didn't come in as an emergency funding right off the bat. I'm glad it's here, and I'm glad it's not going to wait long. I'll absolutely support it. It's a historical building. It's also storing historical artifacts. So it's got to be taken care of. This is the right venue to come first and ask for the money from us, but it hurts to see it being at this level already, come to us so late. Yeah, I just have to say that out loud.
Yeah, no, I understand. Again, we thought, and again, that's on me, that we thought if you go up on that roof and you look at it, that roof doesn't look the age that it is. I just found that out. It doesn't look that way, that when you look at it, it doesn't look that bad. The patches are the ones that are a little dry rotted, but
Is your communication with the library board people, like, good?
well, yeah, because we go through Leanne and the administrator and stuff like.
I think some of them expressed significant concerns a while ago. It seemed to take a long time before.
It does take a while. It does. We've got 37 buildings worth $87 million. The average age of my building is 75-plus years of age.
And I honestly, I don't want to harass you.
No, I totally understand.
I do want you to come here and ask for money what we need. I do, but where it's almost painful for us sometimes to say, okay, here's another $350,000.
And that's why, again, like I said, when we come in, you'll see that we've taken back some projects that we're going to feel that we're going to be able to do ourselves, because we can do them in a period of time where it's not going to be a whole amount, which helps out with the cost of what this will be. I think is going to be more helpful, and I think doing that is going after this is more important than going after some of the other.
So that's all of your projects are withdrawing?
Not all of them. I'm withdrawing a few of them. I've sent a letter with Sandy. I sent a letter, and there was one that I withdrew last night through the park board for not having the letter. So that's another one that I'll be sending in to you. But we've withdrawn 3 or 4 that we're able to do. So, and it helps out a little bit more with this. And we think that this is a little bit more important to try to get this done.
Tony, when did you put this in as a project? This one in the first slide?
Oh, boy, I was going to bring that up. Is it my turn?
Your turn.
So I submitted in August 31st, 2015, a CPA application to repair the library roof and ceiling. This is what I had said in the first round of the application. Currently, there are a number of roof leaks at the Fall River Public Library. The funding request will be for repairing roof flashing, roof shingles, and needed interior ceiling plaster and paint. And the requested amount was $50,000. And I had noticed that that roof started to leak the second that they finished repairing it in 1997. So it was always an installation, I believe, particularly at the locations at the very end, that it's a flashing issue. And obviously, it's gotten worse over time. I fully support CPA funds going to repair that library roof, but not in the current application as it's written right now. And let me explain why. First, I'm disappointed that the trustees has not provided any funding to go into this project. They're basically saying, City of Fall River, you pay for the whole thing, or CPA. I went to their website today, they have a donation form. You know, obviously they have money, and I just happened to be listening to the radio today, and the library lady was on saying, oh, we got money, why don't we just use it? That's not the reason why I'm going to be voting against an emergency application. got a couple of questions first. On the application, it says November 2018 solicit design services and December 2018 retain an architect. Has the city retained an architect?
I have.
You have?
I have out of my budget.
Here's why I can't support this application. We are looking to pay $300,000 to put a .06 EPDM roof, a rubber roof. We have to meet the Secretary of Interior standards. A rubber roof was not available in 1887. Therefore, at the flat areas, I expect that it's all lead-coated copper. If there's some walls or angled roof, there's going to be slate. So I don't believe that we can approve an application that is telling us that they're putting a rubber roof membrane, which is replacing what's there now. My recommendation is for you to revise the application, come back with a roof that meets the Secretary of Interior standards for that historical building. And when you do that, I think the number will be doubled, and I will approve it. Well, my end of it. But I don't think with the current application of a 0.6 EPDM membrane roof, it does not qualify for the Secretary of Interior standards.
That was what, if you look in the packet there, you have from 1986, Goodyear EPDM roof is what is up there today. There is no slate, there is no copper, there is no...
I agree with you. It was taken out.
This only works as preservation, under preservation law. So it has to meet Secretary of Interior standards.
If there was something there of original...
Doesn't make a difference.
Okay.
Yeah, I would love for your architect to come back and say, the original material of this roof was this, and we expect it to cost this much. I will prove
I
it.
guess a good example might be if there's a window from 1820 that was made out of wood originally, now it's aluminum, and they want to replace it with another aluminum window. We're not going to pay for that. We're going to pay for an original 1820 window, right?
Right, but we had this discussion on the veterans building that we talked about what's acceptable on the windows. You indicated that some of the windows we absolutely could not restore because they were beyond that. But this is a roof, and we can easily put back original materials that were there. I expect that number to be higher, and when I see a revised application, I'm going to vote for it. But I can't vote for it with a rubber membrane roof.
Are you willing to go back and do the research on this?
Again, that puts us the timeline and the damages. Again, it's an EPDM roof now. It's what's there. It's been there for 20 years. I think when they remodeled and redid the original refurbish of the library, that's what they put on there. Secretary of Interior is, if you can't see from the ground of the roof, things like that, they have some limits of what they require. Like we did the Bank Street Armory, they allow us to take the copper off the walls and do that with plywood, so that we could save the copper and use it for areas where you could see, so you could keep it of the error and of the patina and all of that stuff. Being that you can't see this roof, 90% of this roof is flat. There is slopes going from the flat area on top down to another flat area and then back up the wall. Doing the EPDM gives you a fully adhered up the wall, one piece coming this way with their welded seams and patching, versus having a couple of different materials. So if you want to do the walls in slate, copper, and then coming down and flashing against a little bit of the roof that comes down, these are areas that now can be prone to more leakage, more problems, more issues. If this committee would want to entertain that, again, we're just trying to do this as replace what was there.
But you understand?
Oh yeah, I totally.
The reason why CPA was adopted, what the requirements are, and that's what we were obligated to follow. Is all Tony's really saying.
Right.
Go ahead.
Right, and the rubber roof that's being requested to be putting in is on a 10-year warranty.
20.
The company that you mentioned had 10 on it.
Yeah, it should be 20, should be 20. Most all EPDM roofs now are 20.
So it will be 10 short of our 30-year preservation restriction on it. So I think if we do it correctly with the lead coated copper, it's going to last 100 years. Versus, more likely than not, it's going to come back. And I've been on a number of these roofs in the city, Seagulls. They use the roofs to drop the scallops on them.
And that's a lot of the issues that's happening on this. This is a lot of our issues over here. We've had seagulls making nests in the chimneys and stuff. We've had to take them out of the fireplaces that were blocked up inside because they fell down inside. And so it's a lot of issue. They make their nests up there and clogs the roof drain. So there's been a lot of constantly going up there. It's a little tough. We have some air conditioning units up there. The HVAC guy got attacked a few times to...
Chris, would you concur that the other type of roof that Tony's talking about would have a longer lifespan?
Yes. But it's probably
Twice as much money?
triple the price, if not more
Twice
than
as
that.
long?
So you triple the cost, triple the lifespan.
It's a building that's over 100 years old now. I would love for it to last another 100 years. I would love for CPA funds to pay for it. I mean, if we needed to bond it, that's a perfect building. It's a people's university. My kids, when they have their kids, will potentially continue to pay for it. And I'm fine with that.
If this committee would wish to have that, I have no problem with going to research it and do all of that stuff. I mean, it's whatever the committee likes. I mean, if
The
it...
other thing, I mean, like say, Tony, heard that on the radio today, I didn't know what is in the accounts of the library, but I mean, we could also get them here and say, hey, how much are you willing to contribute to this? I mean, and also, I would still like to ask the city again, can they contribute anything to this? I'm not saying the whole entire thing, but something.
Well, that's what we're doing with taking out the other
I
and
understand.
withdrawing. We're gonna try to go with those and...
We're not, you don't know if we would even have voted for that. Could have been a no to begin with.
Right.
So, but I would still like to ask again, if the city's willing to contribute something, if the library's willing to contribute something, and if we could contribute something as a collective effort, it would be the ideal situation, I think. Like I say, what Tony's saying, at the cost to make it to the Secretary of Interior standards, I mean, I'm totally supportive. The building is spectacular.
Spectacular, yeah, it is. I mean, the artwork and everything
I mean,
that's in there, but I mean, just the overall look of it, the architectural in it, the railings, the second floors, I mean, you don't see any of those too often.
And it breaks my heart that they put carpet over that clear floor glass at the book stacks. I would love for you to come back asking for money to remove that, because that was...
I didn't believe that it had that. I couldn't realize that that's what it was. It was glass floors that you could see through. I didn't even know that they were there. And I had been in that building when I was a kid, and I don't remember that being there,
Yeah, they were there actually because I
Yeah.
remember,
So,
yeah.
so Chris, if I can assist your architect, I'm more than happy to do it. But we have a January 15 deadline. I'm hoping to see a revised application having a roof.
Yeah, I'll get right on with the, like I said, with the architect. I'll see if we can go to historic preservation, see what we can, see what we can find, see if we can find any records of what it might have looked like.
Are you willing to work with Tony? I mean, he's offered.
I don't have to, I'm just offering.
Yeah.
I
But
know.
I mean, I think, like, to move it on the fast track, to get it to the deadline, and even to, like, when you come before us again for the funding part, I would like to have the library board here too, to like, what's their take?
It would be good if at least one of them was present.
Well, at least a letter from the trustees indicating that they're willing to accept CPA money and put in preservation restriction,
They put a
because
letter.
back in 2015,
They did put a letter.
they said no.
There's a letter.
There's a letter saying that they support it, but not for funding.
Right.
Not funding of them,
The
but
supporting application.
there's a supporting application they're
They're
supporting.
supporting us funding
Yeah,
it.
And they understand there's going to be a preservation restriction.
I think there's already one on there, isn't there?
I'd be surprised if there is.
Yeah.
It's actually a city-owned building.
Yeah, but I think there's already I think that's already designated as historic and national.
We don't knock down city-owned buildings?
Yeah, but I think that's a national landmark, wouldn't it be? Wouldn't that be on the National Historic Register?
Technically, so is King Philip Mill.
I don't think we're gonna knock down I don't think the library's gonna get knocked down.
I'm saying it doesn't,
I don't think you'll ever see something to that effect in that.
An example is, let's say a worst-case scenario, there's a fire,
Let's not say that.
right? Well, in our city, you know, a simple fire is you got to knock down the whole building. If there's a preservation restriction on this building, now the thinking is, how are we going to bring it back to its original state? And we've seen many libraries throughout the world catch on fire. So for me, it's very important to have that 30-year restriction on this building. That's all.
That's fine.
Does anyone have any other questions?
So I'll try to get back to you by the 15th. I'll work with the architect right away. We'll see if we can't find some historic stuff.
Is it possible to have Tony involved in any way?
Yeah, if Tony was willing to help, I mean, because this is gonna take all hands on deck. If anybody wants to, you might be able to help me as well, you know? I'm just trying to find, if I can find what that roof looked like.
And the thing about it,
I don't even know if you need to, your architect should be able to figure out what is an appropriate, so even if they don't, there's no picture, there's no history, but they can know architecturally.
and like
what's
Tony's right,
appropriate.
as a one person on this board, like, if it was 600,000, the buildings, I'd still support that. I mean, and it's not about how cheap can CPA be, it's like, if it's an expensive project and we have the funds, we're still willing to support that. And we have.
If anything, this might free up some of our cash if we borrow for it, because this application as it is we're gonna be out of money.
Done. We have like 1.2 million, I think, for.
You have your appropriation, which is over $1 million, but in your reserve fund, I gave everybody a copy of.
Sandy
my
Dennis, our
numbers.
secretary.
So in your reserve fund right now, you have $458,480.19. And that's minus the emergency that went for the boiler. So with this project, it would bring your reserve fund down to $128,480.19.
If we use 345.
Yeah.
So
it'll
if
bring
it
your
went to
reserve-
600 and something,
If you, yeah, it would
we
be
wouldn't,
enough.
we would have to bond for it.
And you couldn't take it, you'd have to bond in a regular.
On the application, the fact that the city already has hired an architect showed that as a cost that the city has already provided into the project. That would look good.
Still have a question for Sandy now. She comes in. Sandy, I still have a question. So if Chris was to go out and redo the whole bidding process to do it to Secretary of Interior standards and it came up to 600 and some thousand, are we able to do that? Like in an emergency, or would we not be able to do that?
I don't know how, I don't know, I can ask
Because
Jen.
would we be
I
able to
can ask
bond
the
for that
auditor.
immediately?
I don't know.
Okay,
I don't
so
know
that would
if
be
it
another
has to
question. If it
bonded
got
for
that
a regular
high,
cycle.
like I said, we only have 444,000 that we would be able to allocate at this moment anyway. So if it came that high,
I think if your architect goes through, he's going to do drawings, specifications, there's going to be an RFP process. You're going to select a contractor with a number. Once you have that number, come back to us. That's the number that the contractor had in.
I can't go out to bond or out to bid without having the funds available. I have to have the funds available first before I can put out on the street for bidding. That's a false piece for contractors. I have to have the funding in place.
So like the Oak Grove Cemetery, we approved, I think, $192,000 for the cast iron gate. And then 6 months or 8 months later, you came back and said, oh, it went out to bid. It actually
And the
ended
bids
up
came out
being
higher, but I
higher.
had already had funding in place. Funding was in place that we thought at the estimated cost that's what it would have been.
Right.
But the cost came in much higher, and so before we awarded the contracts, we came back to the board and said, this is what it is, and the contractor was willing to hold the bid. So as we did that, but we had the funding in place at first. I can't have zero in my budget and then come back to you and,
Right, but I guess the architect, or I would recommend hiring a estimating company. It's not very expensive. They can come in between 5 and 10% of that bid. It'll get us close to the number, and then if the bid goes in higher, you show up and we'll go to
That's what you have in front of you, is the
So for
RDA.
credit, hopefully,
Right, well,
instead
that's
of
what we did
half.
with, it was the RDA, that was the certified estimator. This was a professional estimator that estimated the project under the EPDM.
Can the trustees get rid
If you look at the bottom of that RDA, the very, very,
Yeah.
right at the last one, number 6. It's 20 years.
Yeah, but see, these numbers to me are useless because they're all based on an EPDM.
Yes.
So-
No, I'm just saying, he was the professional estimator, but then you had said, in the packet somewhere it said 10, but it was 20. It was actually 20.
So why,
Excuse me?
the trustees send it out to bid?
It's a city building. No, but our architect can estimate it. We can get it estimated. We can hire a professional estimator based on, we want slate, we want copper, we can get it estimated. We just want to move this along as fast as we can.
I would prefer to see the breakdown, because this to me is just a summary page.
You should have a breakdown right behind it.
Yeah, that's way too simplistic. I'll send you an example of what I would hope to see that will get us closer to the number.
Yeah, I think behind it all, it has the breakdown. Yeah, it's got 2 pages worth of the breakdowns of what it would be for cranes and hoisting, waste management, supervising, opening, flashing, roof covering, plumbing.
Yeah, I'll send you an example, Chris, and maybe you can ask them if they can prepare something.
Yeah, if you have like a spreadsheet or something, or Excel or something that you have, and how you want the breakdown, you know what I mean, he can break it down anyway.
It's for a roof project, so it'll be a good example.
I mean, I agree with Tony. I also am supportive of the fact that if it costs more, and it's going to make the building to its original
Historic piece.
historic construction, if it's more, like that's why this.
You have my number, Tony?
I'm sorry?
You have my number?
I do.
All right.
I have your email also. And one of the reasons that it's important to me is there's a number of buildings in our city where we're able to look down at other buildings. And that's one building that I know if I go across the street or to the building next door, if I'm on the upper floors, I have a clear view of that roof. So having a architecturally appropriate roof instead of EPDM or a ballast system would be preferable. And I do have photographs of when the library was being put together. At least a couple. So,
Yeah, hopefully we have something there, that'd be great.
So please bring it back, 'cause I think we want to support it.
Yeah, I'll bring it back right away. As soon as, if I can find whatever that we may have historically, any photos of what it may look like, again, I'll ask the architect, come up with his version of what he thinks would have been on there and stuff like that.
We can go based on the architect's recommendation.
Yeah, but again, if we have photos, then it makes it even easier. And then now we can go, with that, I'll have him get the professional estimator based on what we come up with and come back right away.
you need to give them some time.
So that's, I'm just speaking with Tony quickly. It seems like here we are, January 10th. I mean, I think you should have a little bit more time. I mean, it's a project we feel very important. I think we should possibly give you an extension on your funding time, so this gives you a little bit more leeway, because I think it's
So
a
I think
project.
that's fair. We have his initial application
Yeah.
and to give.
I mean, I know you would have submitted this for the funding, next week, but I think it's fair to give you an extension because of this.
So I'll make a motion that Chris will submit a revised application by our next January meeting.
28th,
The 28th?
yeah.
Well, Tony, if you can give me some times when we can meet, I don't know where you can meet during the day, at night, and stuff like that.
We'll email each other.
And we'll go back and forth, and then that way they will see what we can come up with. I will go to historic, and see what I can come up with there, see what we can get for photos of the
I
roof.
think we are willing to, like, spend more if it's gonna be historically.
That's
what seems the board's.
That's great. I mean, I was like with that number, I was a little nervous coming in with that number going, it's a little high. And
One thing I still would like to entertain is the fact that, like, I would like to know the story behind the library board's funding possibilities, and if they're willing to help us too. Like, so I don't know if you'll contact them.
Yeah, well, I'll contact them. I'll ask the administrator,
It would be a fair.
see if they would give us whatever they have for information. Question.
Question, and it would be fair of them to, like, offer us some funds to, accomplish this.
Yeah, it's not a problem. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
No, thank you.
So we have a motion. We have a motion on the table. Do you have a second? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Item number 6 is award agreement for the FY19 project, the Niagara Bike Path. So this one just had a question on the actual project description of this project. And I actually called Al Lima, who wrote the application, and he said that what it says, sought funds for the initial layout and easement acquisition for the southward upper portion of the bike path is correct. So,
You just re-vote on it.
okay. So, does someone want to make a motion to vote on the fact that this application, this award agreement is exactly how it should be?
I'll make a motion.
What's the issue?
We thought that the description was incorrect.
I thought the description wasn't.
But in speaking with him, he said this is what is going to happen. That's the intention of this application.
So we don't really need to vote on anything. It's already there, right?
Yep.
All right. Okay. I just want to make sure before I get all the signatures.
Like you say, we did vote on it as the way it is.
All right.
So he said it's okay the way it is. Then item number 7 is signs. Is there any signs in the package? So we have some signs out there at the moment on projects that we've accomplished. Has anyone, I know we were looking for photos of a few of the properties that we have kind of accomplished in the past few years. Has anyone been able to get any, or I have an iPhone is all I have. I don't have a camera to take photos.
I was supposed to take some, but I don't think I got a list of what properties to go to.
Why don't we make one?
I have a couple.
These are pictures.
Want me to use that list?
I actually have a picture of the open.
I think it's in there.
So why don't we just come up with four photos that we
I don't
think?
mind taking them. I'll take them.
Well, you can decide between the two of you.
Yeah, I'll do it.
So, I think the Oak Grove Cemetery gate is a great one. And that would be under historic preservation. So we need one for housing, which would be the Fisk House, which is a great, I mean, it's the only one so far, but it's a good one also.
I think Terry Sullivan sent us something for open space.
To who, you?
Yeah. Because I got some nice ones from him.
So,
So I'll email all of you.
okay.
Nice ones from where?
Terry Sullivan, Bio Reserve.
Oh, okay, good.
What other photo or location would we think might be a good photo to add in? Because it was 4 photos, right?
Recreation
We need like a park.
Something in the park.
Which one do you think?
park. So as soon as you get the pictures, just email them to me so I can give them to
Columbus
the
Park?
You think Columbus Park would be a good photo?
The bocce court.
Oh, I think it's a good idea.
It's a park. I mean,
Well, you could get all 3. You could get the bocce court, the basketball court, and the, 80 compliance on that one.
I'd rather that versus the demolished pool, Kennedy Park.
Why? Why's that? So that's the other one, Columbus Park. Use your creative photographic skills on that one, please. Got
Right, and then
responses.
and you have the bio reserve, so it's just these.
Yes.
Okay.
So you all just need to take a look at the estimate. I gave you sheets on, I gave you a sheet on the invoice. We ordered 10 signs and the sizes that we ordered.
Sandy, could you come up here, Tony? Like we have-
Sorry, Tony.
just to
I'm
hear
hearing
you
it
more.
here.
Oh, that's okay. I can
Just
talk
a
loud.
To this.
Okay, so what I did, well, I gave you a list of all of the projects, and that includes the FY19 projects. So what's going to be done this year.
Yeah.
You all need to tell me where, we have 10 signs now. We need to find out where they are, because we can use the existing 10 signs that we have and put them on locations, and then how many you want me to order from Baker Signs, and what size.
So do we know where they are at the moment? The signs?
I'm working with Chris to find out where they are, and then if I have to, I'm gonna have to just drive around and
Just for
look.
reference, I'm visualizing the one.
Historical Society,
Yeah, so
the
what size is
Armory.
that one here?
Small, that's the small
So
one,
that's a small-
2x4.
The one at the, it looks bigger than that.
I think we had a 4-foot by 8-foot one
Yeah.
holding back the stones from the Abbey Road.
Yes, so I don't know where that one is. I'll find out, I'm just gonna try, if I can't find out, if Chris doesn't know, I'm gonna try to meet with Kenny to see if he knows where they are. Yeah, you have a small one. Who? Who? Yes, yes. So, yeah, I've got Lafayette Durfee has a small one. All the small ones are
So
out.
the same, so the one at the Easton Tea Room is the same size as, for some reason
Just
it's
looks, I know.
So the
I know.
36 by, is 36 high by 60 inch wide is the small?
The small one, yes. And then if you see the estimate, we added a new size for the estimate. So the last ones that we ordered were 48 by 96 and 24 by 48. That's your invoice sheet, the last sheet in your packet. That's what we ordered last time. This time I asked her to include another size. So on the estimate, you're gonna see on line 1,
Well,
36.
What I just want to get clear first, on the first page, you have sign size, small.
Yeah.
So which one is this, which size is the small?
The
What
small
are we
one-
calling the small?
24 by 48.
Okay.
That's small.
And so what would be the medium one?
We didn't order any mediums last time. We just ordered small and large.
So, and the large is 48 by 96?
Yeah, and it's big.
So so
That's big.
Where is the one that's large?
It was at the Abbey Grill.
Yeah.
Now they took it down, and it must be stored somewhere in this building, I would assume, or at the garage. So I have to find out from Chris where all these signs
Do you
are.
think we should have a different size, or there's two sizes?
I don't think we should have the big ones.
Yeah, what we did, well, on your first page where it says estimate, we have 36 by 72, 36 by 60, and 48 by 48.
I think having a small sign in one of the parts is absolutely useless.
And
I've
it's
seen that.
small. It's small.
So these large ones would be perfect
Makes
in the
sense.
parts.
Makes sense.
So,
Yep.
And I think we
Is that
brought,
really large?
well, we brought it down to 36 by 72 for
Instead of by
estimates.
96.
Yeah, that makes,
Yeah.
Yeah,
that would-
because at one of the last meetings,
6 foot.
we had talked about sizes, and these were the sizes.
So the 48 by 96, we don't, we're not
No.
doing anything.
And, yeah, 'cause at one of the last meetings, I had given you pictures that Linda gave me, and these are the 3 sizes.
Yeah.
So you need to decide
So are
how
we-
many of what
Are we
size
doing-
now.
Are we doing 4 by 4s anywhere?
No, you're
48 by
doing,
48?
well, 3 by 72, which
Right,
is
but
what,
on
7
the
feet?
estimate on the first page, you have a 4 by 4.
Yeah,
So do we not even want to do that?
I don't think 4x4 will work because.
You'd have to put the
board
pictures in.
Right, so we're going to eliminate that
Right.
totally.
You don't want
So
that
we're either going to have a small sign or a large sign.
Yep, 36 by 72, 36 by 70, or you can add that 24 by 48 again. Because like the 24 by 48 is perfect for like a Lafayette Durfee House, the Historical Society, because it's not overpowering those buildings.
Okay.
So you might want to take out the 48 by 48 and then add the 24 by 48.
Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense.
And then, I mean, there's not much of a difference between 36 by 60 and 36 by 72, so maybe just go with the 36 by 72. I don't know.
So it would be 3 sizes, right?
If you
24 by
want.
48, 36 by 60, and 36 by 72.
If you want those 3 sizes.
Do we need 3, or should we just go with
I think we
these?
should just do a big and a small.
Okay.
36 by 72, but like Tony said,
And 24 by 48, just those 2?
yeah, so 36 and 40, yeah. So we'll get rid of the 36 by 60, the 48 by 48, and then go with a 36 by 72 and a 24 by 48. And then however, and the prices per sign, and then let me know how many you want me to order. So when we get the pictures, I'll just place the order. I'll have her do a copy so you can see it before she actually goes to make them.
Do we want to speak about how many we want now, or do we want to wait?
Until,
Say it was good.
What's that?
To get them going now.
and then as soon as I get the pictures from Kristen, I can have her
Which
do.
ones do you think we should do small, and which ones should we do large?
5 and 5.
Well, you know what, why don't, yeah,
So we.
you know your projects and where you
Right.
want them,
How
so.
many do we still have out there?
You have 10, but I will tell you, go by 8,
But the
because
problem
I don't know where they
but
all
the other
are.
thing too, like, the old signs have old pictures.
Yes.
So do we want to promote the new things that we've done, or do we want to just leave it?
I was thinking that when we make these signs, they'll have the new graphics.
Right, correct. So kind of, the other signs are sort of,
So my recommendation would be, once we have the photographs and we agree with them, then at that point we can order the signs.
And then let me know, why don't you go through the projects and then let me know
so why
what
don't we
projects
just
you want to
table this
sign
to
and
the
how,
next
what
meeting?
size you
Everybody
want
can
them.
go through this list,
Yeah.
think how many signs we might need, and then we'll have the new
Yeah.
signs made with the new photos.
So we don't want to use the old signs with old photos, even though it's still projects that we've done? I mean, wouldn't it be better to have more signs out there?
I think we can reuse some of the old ones, but if
Mhm.
we're going to pay to make new ones, they should have the new graphics.
No,
Yes.
I agree with that, but what I'm saying is instead of just scrapping the old ones, we can still use them because it's still projects that were done in the first place. So then we have more,
And they're still in good condition. They're still in good condition. So then you can have 10 plus however many more you order. And then you can decide if you want new signs on what,
So
Projects
Kristen's
and-
going to take photos.
You're gonna
send
email them to
you
me.
Send to the printing company.
Yep.
And then you come back with a
with the design,
design.
so that she'll email it to me. I'll email it to all of you so you can actually see what the design looks
And we'll
like.
decide on how many signs.
How many you want, and then each of you, if you can go through this list, and if you notice, I got in red, the reds are projects that are already done, so I'm not sure if you even want to put a sign on those, I mean, that's up to you. And then you've got some other ones, like Vietnam Southward Tupper, East Bay Bike Path, I mean, you may not even want to put a sign on those projects.
Right.
So, kind of decide what projects you want signs on, and then what size
Yeah.
you want,
Okay.
and then we'll take it from there.
Should we add this to the next meeting? Being the next meeting is going to be a funding meeting.
Yeah, because this is a quick, yeah,
Okay.
add,
We'll so put that on the next meeting.
and so we want Oak Grove Cemetery Gate, the Dr. Fisk House, and Columbus Park.
Yep, and then Terry Sullivan's going to send a photo to Sandy for conservation.
and I'll send those to you.
Yeah.
Okay, all right.
Eagles.
Any other questions on the signs? Item number 6. Item number 8, project selection. We started this several meetings ago, but we kind of just didn't finish up on that as far as assigning a board member to each project so that we would, have someone designated that could, give us updates on what's happening with the project. So Sandy provided a list of projects. The ones that in red indicate the project completed, the ones obviously in black are not. So we need to assign a board member to each of these projects. Some of them we had, I don't know why we only voted on like 5, I'm not quite sure why.
Because they weren't enough members,
Yeah.
Okay,
and the 5 that said, yeah, I'd like to do that
Oh.
with the president.
okay. So,
Because I already have one. Oh,
we
yeah,
want to just
okay.
go one by one and see who wants to take what?
What's the difference between the red?
Those are done. Those are finished.
Red indicates projects are completed.
So we don't need any
I
of
don't
that.
agree that some of these aren't.
Okay, so we can discuss that too.
Like, I don't think the Abbey Grill is completed. I looked out there, we gave them money for the roof, and I see plywood.
Okay. We can change it out. Sandy just came up with this, and that's fine. We can, that's fine.
Plus,
So,
plus we had,
But then you
in
should
that
take that
project, we had also included, I think, 10,000 or 20,000 to hire an architect. And that architect was supposed to reply back to us to let us know that that roof was done by the Secretary of Interior standards. I have not seen that. So as far as I'm concerned, this project is not closed.
So would you like to take that one on?
It would be best that I do not take that one because
Tony, I'll be on with you.
So who would, anybody like to take the Abbey Grill on to find out what's going on with that?
I'll take it.
Okay.
Veterans Center, I don't believe that's going to...
Why don't we go down one by one, rather than jumping around? So let's go to item number 2. Even though it's red, we'll review it and see if we want it still on the list or not.
So I'm pretty sure number 2 is done. Any debate?
Oh, that's the Preservation Society? That's
Yeah.
done, okay.
Hey, yes, we agree it's red. It's in the red. Kosciuszko Square, do we agree that that one's finished?
No.
Well,
Why?
So we paid 4 benches, and then streetscapes occurred.
Okay.
And they changed everything.
right.
So as far as I'm concerned, somebody needs to come back. Tell us
Funding
what
is
they
coming
did.
back from that, correct? Is it for what particular? The whole thing is coming back. All the funds from that's coming back. The entire project.
All $3,000?
Yes. So,
Let's think about it.
so do we want to continue on that one?
I haven't seen that in the accounting book as come back.
So,
All right.
After the meeting, I'll visit you.
Doesn't mean I don't.
so the funding is coming back on that one?
So it's done.
Yes.
King Philip Mill, I don't believe, is completed, and I would like to be the one on that one.
Okay.
And I'm expecting $99,000 to come back to our committee.
Okay. All right, so you have that one. Columbus Park fence, I've been working with Chris Gallagher on this one. I've been working with the Disability Commission in Fall River. I spoke with the Disability Commission in Boston. We're still working on the part. The problem with the bocce courts is the handicap accessibility part of it keeps getting stolen. They replaced it twice, and it's been stolen twice. And so I have to give credit to the Parks Department for trying to put it back, and then all of a sudden it's gone again. So now we're in the process of talking with the Disability Commission in Boston to see if there's any other bocce courts in the state that they've used, and if there are other ways to do this, or can we get a variance that will allow us to just enclose the entire bocce court and not let it be handicap accessibility. That's where we are on that.
So what's getting sold?
It's the bocce courts are surrounded by 4x4s.
Right.
So one section of the 4x4s, they kind of made it so that you can kind of like lift it up with a hinge and a latch. They keep unscrewing the hinges and taking the latch and taking the wood away.
Can we set up a camera like they put in the woods when the deer comes by and takes a photograph? Can you set something up like that?
CPA money?
Well, no, the park board, they can put cameras.
I think that's kind of a crazy. That's not going to happen.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
can we stick that actual issue at hand?
Okay.
Whatever about the 4x4s, can we just assign someone to move on?
Right. So I'm going to take that one because I have been working on that.
Thank you.
North Burial Ground. So that one it started with one.
I'll take it.
Okay. Who's that? Tony
That's me.
Dias.
I only live across the street.
South Shore Kennedy.
Oak Cemetery, that's done.
Oh, I'm sorry. Our Oakville Cemetery is done.
It is not done. So I understood that the painting of the cast iron gate was not proper, that they had to get it repainted. So I don't believe that's completed.
Okay, I'll look at that one. I'll take that one. South Shore Kennedy Park. I've talked with Bill Roth about those projects, so I'll take that one on to see where that stands in his work.
My only concern with that project is the design was not the original design of Olmsted.
You want to be on it with me?
Yeah, that would be my conversation, because when Al presented it, they showed the oval, but it was like these sidewalks were oval, and it should have been an actual road. So it did not meet the Olmsted design. So I just want to make sure that whatever we do there,
Tony,
it's meeting the Olmsted
So
design.
do you want to be on that one?
John, he is.
So Tony, so you and I are going to be on it. Okay. Dr. Fisk House is acquired, so that one is done. The Vietnam, South Watuppa,
The Dr. Fisk House was acquired,
yes.
but what about the part of affordable housing?
What about it?
Doesn't there have to be a statement that says there's a restriction on this house now, and so many units are...
We're still working on all the, nothing, we're still working on all the restrictions. That's going to be our next negotiation.
Right, but
It's like a whole separate committee
It's not.
about those.
So what,
what I'm trying to say is...
It's not done yet.
CPA funds were used for affordable housing.
Yeah.
Yes, the building was purchased, but we need to see that the affordable housing piece
Right.
has been finalized.
I think,
That's all I'm saying.
I think the point is that you're right, that in fact, none of the projects are completed because of that very reason. So, but that's a whole separate subcommittee that we're all.
I agree, but I'm just saying they should be open instead of closed.
so basically, all of them should be black.
All right.
Okay, nothing's
Oh, good point.
done.
That's good.
Okay. So, the Fisk House,
I will take the first
the South Watuppa Pond bike path.
Did you skip the Bank Street Armory?
Yeah.
one. No, we didn't.
And then,
Oh,
No, we're not there
East
yet.
Bay Bike Path.
I thought you said South Watuppa Bike Path.
I said South Shore Kennedy Park,
Oh.
then we did the Dr. Fisk House.
Yeah.
Then we did the Vietnam South Watuppa,
What is that?
Vietnam South Watuppa,
That's that piece of land.
that piece of land
Penny.
acquisition that we had acquired,
They were
Bill
doing
Kenny,
some kind of a study.
Bill Kenny
Oh,
wanted
yes.
to acquire this little section of land.
Yes,
Right.
yes.
And then East Bay Bike Path, that's Victor.
I'll take the East Bay Bike Path. Actually, if you want, I'll take the Vietnam one too, because Bill Roth, I believe, is working on both of those. So if I worked on that one too, I can talk to him at the same time on that also. As well, we're not there yet, but the Taunton River Bike Path too, if I took that one on, I can speak to him about all three of these.
So do you want,
Victor will be on the Vietnam with you, or?
I'll just do that one on my own. Yep. And I'll also, East Bay Bike Path, I'll do that one. Bank Street Armory,
So we gave money for a roof and to repair and replace the chimney. So the building is still closed because the roof is not structurally sound?
so do you want to take that one?
Yes.
Okay. The South Watuppa Bike Path Study, I'll take that one. Olmsted Fountain Restoration, I know that it has not been completed, it's,
That was my application, so I'll take it.
okay. The Maritime Museum, we're still waiting on, obviously, a deed restriction part of it all, so.
So we gave them money for an elevator.
Yep.
Is it operational?
This isn't it operational?
But what Tony's
Yes.
saying, what Tony's saying about it is like, did they send us a letter saying it's finished, it's operational, that type of thing?
The second floor is accessible, thank you very much.
Yeah, so would someone like to take the Maritime Museum?
sure, I'll take that.
Okay. Fall River Fire Museum, Fall River Fire Museum is,
John, you're taking that?
okay, John Brandt. Academical Club,
This is the second one, right? Because the first one's completed.
did they give us,
completed
did we get a letter from the architect that it's
No,
finished?
this is still first.
by King Henry.
This is all of them. So whoever gets the academic, gets
gonna
the
take
whole,
both of them.
every year of it. Yeah, I think makes sense. So who wants academic?
Anybody for Academical Club? No?
Yeah, I would.
North Park Existing Conditions Report.
I nominate Kristen.
Wow. That one. That's your baby.
No, I believe I had a presentation with the Historical Commission, and we voted that the Historical Commission is now in charge to make sure that this project
That's right.
is
Sorry.
completed.
Okay, that is me, sorry.
Sanborn Maps, I can take that one.
It's done.
But it's closed.
Is it totally finished?
Yeah, that's done and paid for.
Well,
Because it doesn't need a,
yeah, I'll say.
it doesn't need a preservation.
It doesn't need a preservation restriction or anything.
So it's not a building, it's a physical item.
Right, it doesn't need a restriction.
Okay. So that one's done.
And did everybody get a copy of those sandworms that wanted them?
No, I'd like a copy.
Whoever wants a copy of the sandworms, shoot me an email. I'll send you a link to a Dropbox, and then you can have it for reference.
The Elks Lodge,
That is complete.
that's done. Other than the preservation restriction.
Correct.
The Lafayette Durfee House. Okay. Fall River Recreation, there was two for them. The one for this year and the one prior.
The boiler.
Yeah.
The boiler was still full.
Okay.
They were installing the sprinkler system on the previous application,
Right.
but they never gave us an update of what that was.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. The Children's Museum. So there were two applications on this.
So whoever gets the children should get everything, I think.
Right, both for the HVAC, right?
Yes.
Anybody want this one?
I'd say it's complete.
John Brandt?
I'll take it.
Okay. John Franco. For the Historical Society has had several. I've been speaking with Michael about that one. I'll take that one. The Pond Wall, I have no problem taking that one. The man murals, that one's complete, I think. And I don't know where, like,
So I have a question.
yeah.
So we paid to have it restored?
No.
No.
Just to
No,
have,
it was just the study to see what, could they be removed from the walls? So,
You want to come, see if I can get a copy of what they did?
I guess the only thing that I'm wondering about, they're building the new Durfee High School, there's been some comments that they're planning on taking historical items, putting them in the building. Is this one of those items?
no, I can actually, I'll take that one. Joyce Rogers is in the shop all the time, who's a very big
She's
part
the
of it.
historical commission.
Oh, that's right, yes, so, okay, so we'll get that
I
one to you.
nominate Kristen.
That's an easy one, come on.
It is.
Stop complaining.
No, I mean, I haven't heard
Stop your
anything about,
complaining.
that's not what they're doing with the
Right, anyway.
artifacts and putting them into Durfee.
Okay,
They're not
that's another
taking them
story.
in.
That's another story.
I'll do it.
Okay. The school admin building. John? John Brandt?
So there's two applications there?
Well, there's one
You're
coming
gonna
up
be
this year.
getting, yeah, that's
There's
gonna be
one
an
coming up this
ongoing.
year. Yeah. The Veterans Center. Okay. The Central Fire Station roof is John Brandt and Tony Dias already assigned to that. Private Joseph's Green is Kristen Olivera. Granite wall at Kennedy Park is Charlie Monas, but there's the other wall, the same thing, so I can take that one too because
I'll put you on with him.
I'm on with the other one now, so, yeah.
You guys can do it.
Yeah. Little theater? Anybody interested in a little theater? The Eagle Event Center. I'll do it, John. Okay, John. Pulaski Park Splash Pad.
done.
Do the kids use it?
Well, how about if we just assign somebody just to get an update if it's finished or not?
Do you want me to do that? I'll do
Okay.
it.
I can talk to him.
You'll do, Kristen will do the both splash pads. Because basically just to get an update, and if they're done, they will know for sure.
I'll ask you.
Again, on all of these, like the preservation restrictions are the things we're still, the Niagara Bike Path, Victor and Tony, the Bio Reserve,
I have a question on the bioreserve.
yeah.
Am I understanding that Tuesday city council meeting, it came up again?
Did,
The loan order.
The loan
They had
order.
to do the loan order for bond.
What is that?
to make sure that,
The loan, basically, let me see if I can.
I can't hear you.
So the appropriation order went through, the city council approved it, but then they have to do a loan order for the bond so that they can start paying for it. A loan order needs to go out. Whenever you do a bond, you always have an extra step, and it's a loan order.
But it's still CPA funded.
Yes, yeah. Like, for instance, the first bond that you did, I'm trying to think of his name, the previous auditor, Christian, he automatically did the loan order. I didn't even know about it. But this time, when BioReserve had to do the bill schedule to get the money, they're like, okay, we need to do a loan order. Well, no one knew to do the loan order, so it had to go back to the council for them to approve a loan order.
So where I'm a little confused is when we made the recommendations for the third time,
Yep.
wasn't that one of the projects that the city council said no, we're not funding?
Oh, no,
No.
they funded that one. Oh, no, yeah. Yeah, the only project they didn't approve was the Elks Lodge. Every other
Yeah.
project they approved.
Okay, I thought it was.
No.
Yeah, no, they approved. The city council meeting was just to approve the loan order, so to be able to pay the bond, I guess.
so that's all of those. Any other questions today? So basically, I mean, just everyone's projects, I would, update and see if they are finished. I mean, we are working on the deed restrictions still for the projects that require them. And then we'll get an update maybe in another meeting or two on where these projects stand. Any other questions on item number 8? Item number 9 is a lawyer update. We've got a conversation from Ann Laurel from New Bedford's CPC, and she was saying that a lawyer is probably not necessary, and actually when we spoke with Stuart too, and when he was here, I think he was someone more like a preservation consultant. So she was saying, in speaking with Stuart, that they suggested getting a preservation consultant. So I think maybe we should look into that.
I provided a whole bunch of information for you. The first part is from the Coalition of Places and Preservation District. And then the second one is a directory of consultants or experts.
So why don't we add this on to, I don't know, like you say, we have a meeting for funding coming up. Do we want to add this onto it too, just like review this and do a brief update on this on the next meeting?
Yes.
Looking into a preservation, because the deed restriction is a really important part that's been lagging on our part, and we need to accomplish
Are you
this.
going to do a working group? Or just?
Do you want to do a working group on this? So that 3 people can maybe discuss what should be done with this, as opposed to coming back each time and discussing it all together? Maybe the working group can come back and do a recommendation for us?
We create a subcommittee?
Yeah.
Yep.
Who wants to be on it? You want to pick 3 people? Anybody? Any volunteers? John Francoeur? We have 2 others? Sure. Why do I have to be on the subcommittee?
I think the vice chair
Yeah,
should
I
be.
think the vice chair should be on the subcommittee.
I'll be number 2.
So when
2?
are we gonna meet?
Not that, I mean, just to get an update on this thing and just decide like where should we go with this? That's all. I mean,
But I just,
I think it should be
I
something.
nominate Charlie.
with that?
I nominate Charlie to be on.
Yeah, wait.
Yeah, but you're always the one that has something to say about them, so you should be on it.
don't worry about it.
So we have Jim, John,
you don't want me to have a second?
what's that?
you have to set it on what, so?
Well, I think we can meet anytime.
You can meet anytime you want. I mean, you
I'll
can
do
meet
it. I'll
anytime.
do it. I'll do it.
Okay, so we're gonna have John Francoeur, Tony Dias, and Jim Solon. So this way you could just discuss, I mean, like, how to go about getting this consultant, and they're gonna go through, review our deed restrictions we've kind of formulated, and hopefully get them finally filed. That's it.
Okay.
Okay, so, any other questions on that?
Take a motion to adjourn.
Nope, next meeting
meeting.
is January 28th.
And I think I gave everybody the sheet of all the next meetings. If you don't, I've got extra
But
copies here.
so on that meeting, we're gonna have the first group of applicants, right? We're gonna have the signs, update on that. We'll have an update on the preservation consultant maybe by then, possibly. If not, we can just roll it on to the next meeting. Anything else we want to add to that meeting?
Yes. Chris Gallagher will be there for an emergency application, however,
Oh, he's going to be for an emergency?
Yeah, well, yes, I would say yes.
that's what I
Yeah.
thought we were talking about.
And he said he was gonna contact the library board, or should he also contact, I can too.
Well, they rejected my application last time, so I'm not going to
But they don't like you. Good thing we like you. Good thing we like you. We're keeping you. So, next, motion to adjourn?
Make a motion to adjourn.
All in favor? Aye. Thank you.